What is up, my YouTubians? How are you all doing? And welcome back to From the Depths, where today we are in the designer mode. And I am absolutely happy that we have broke the 930 subscriber count. I'm really happy with that. So thank you all for all your comments, suggestions, and likes, and everything that you are doing. Please keep it up while this thing is about to topple over. This is currently a work in progress. I am really sorry that I haven't uploaded anything, was it for a week or more now, isn't it? There was a couple of issues, happening here at home. If you don't know, I look after my dad. I'm my dad's carer, so this past week it was a little bit touchy over here, so things needed a little bit more attention. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't uploaded much of anything in this past week. Anyway, today we are here. We are going to be looking over how I try to build things. We're going to be going over this, and I want your good suggestions, comments, and all that good stuff as to how we can improve this before we get it into the campaign. So let's see where I'm going to start from. Okay, so if you haven't noticed already, this is based off the I-400. It was a Japanese submarine carrier at the same time. This is, it is nowhere near finished. We've still got a lot of decoration to do. Armoring for sure. We don't have any armor. This is just one layer so far. Over here you would have a catapult thing. Hopefully I'll put up a little screen, a little image on the screen now. So see showing that. That is where the little seaplane would be, attached to, and then it will bugger off somewhere. So that's that bit. Yet to do that. To be honest, I don't know how I'm going to really do it, because we do have this Melee PAC here, which we will be going over very soon as well. You'll be seeing this all in action as well today, showing you how things are working. So one of the other things that I did want to show you, that this submarine does not use any props under there. There is no props, upside down props, all that heresy. I've used that on pretty much every single build now where I have, props underneath, just to help us with roll and stability and pitch and all that good stuff. But with this, we are not doing that. Today I wanted to show you something a little bit different than usual. So hopefully some of you will find this a little bit different. So over here in the insides, this is still all one layer of metal, so we have to sort that out. Well, I'll be sorting that out off camera. With your good recommendations as to what we should do. So over here, as you can see, we are just under here. We're, one block away from the outsides. On the sides here, we have air pumps. Now, as soon as you put down an air pump, this is going to be set to 1. So I put it down to 0 because I don't want this resting state to be 1. And I've tagged this to be a roll, and we're going to be rolling to the left with this one. Down here in the middle doesn't have that much room to to help us out with, but hopefully having a number of them will help us out. So on its own it's not going to do much. So this one we have set it up to look after our pitch, and then again in this section on its own we have another one set to roll right, and this is pretty much repeated all the way down our construct. Over here I've got some hydrofoils. I am trying to, or will later on be trying to do a little experiment to see, well, not on this upload, to see whether hydrofoils is going to be better than using the air pumps like this. But if you already know that, please leave that in the box and down there. That will be very helpful. That will save me a hell of a lot of time. So as you can see, it went all the way down to here. So this room is absolutely and utterly crap. This thing is horrendously crap. I will be sorting this out, but I would like your feedback on this. In order to run the steam propellers, would you use the bigger boiling chambers, or would you use a mix of? Because over here I do have this set up, and I could probably convert this so that it runs, and we can attach it to the medium stuff down here, or the normal size stuff to run our propellers. But this room it's very bad. It's very bad laid out, and it has to be sorted out. As you can see, we have a bleeding cannon here that has to be armored up. But I left it unarmored just so you guys can see that. And we got a couple of these bits and bobs, some of these reduction gears. Coming all the way out here to propel us on the propellers. The propellers are using a differential as well. So I set them up. I think the differential gives you different stats, not like, you know, the strength. I'm not sure. I think I was playing around with the strength on this. And you can set the differential by going to your main and basic settings. You have now basic configuration. Here we go. Add differential yaw, and that will automatically set up the propellers that you have facing that way to be used as differential. So what that means is, you know, if you want to turn this way, this wouldn't be on, or it would be in reverse, and this one would obviously be, you know, full on. So that is that in terms of the little steam stuff. I've never used steam to assist us in movement. We do have a couple of these Deadly Blades because, my god, the speed is still horrendously slow with these props, which I'm very surprised with. Now, it's probably due to the way I've set up our steamy stuff. That is what I'm guessing. I'm guessing we need, you know, bigger boilers and all that good stuff to really get the maximum speed out of those things. Over here, obviously, this stuff has to go. It has to be armored up properly. This is just temporarily, you know, placed, and we definitely need to be carrying probably more ammo. That's for sure. Over here is our Melee PAC. I will be showing you this in action. We're pretty much, you know, starting off in here. It has to be armored up. Actually, it has to move from the center. I don't want it in the center there. I want it somewhere around here. So we'll be putting that in here. But I'll be doing that again off camera. Currently, I'm just trying to show you guys, you know, a little work in progress sort of like update thing. And we will be getting into how we build the hull and all that. But, you know, not in great depth. But, you know, just, you know, a couple of tips and bits and pieces as to how to sort of like, you know, get started with building a sort of decently shaped hull. Over here, yes, there is a crap there is a crap load of bloody Deadly Blades in here because I did want this construct to be very agile. I need it to be able to turn pretty much on a dime when we are going to be using our Melee PAC. So that is, as you can see there, it's creating little heart shapes because it's absolutely in love with the submarine. So yeah, that is that. I will be showing you that in a mo. So over here on the top, let's start up here. Up here we have a load of these guys. These are just, you know, missile interceptors. These have been working quite well for me in terms of, you know, intercepting missiles. It's pretty much like 4 per medium missile. But then, you know, if these guys detonate close to another incoming missile, the AoE from this missile interceptor will damage, you know, surrounding missiles that are coming in. So sometimes you probably see a missile, you know, getting popped with 1 or 2 max, you know. So yeah, I found out these are pretty good. We do have a bit of a start delay, so, you know, they are using ejectors down there. Increase the thrust, you know, we have a lifetime of 10, and with that fuel tank we had a bit more thrust duration, which would have been wasted. So, you know, you increase this and this will go down to try to have these guys match. A lot of fins. The APS guidance does help a bit. I've noticed a difference with it, and it's quite helpful. What I have noticed is I can't put a secondary torpedo propeller, so I cannot use these, you know, for both missiles and torpedoes. Currently, I think it's probably a little bit of a bug. I'm not too sure yet. But when you install a secondary torpedo propeller, pretty much, you know, they shoot up and they veer off to some other direction, not where the missiles are coming from. So that is that little upset for now. So later on, you know, I will be converting them for missiles and torpedoes. The setup's pretty simple, really. There's nothing special to show there. Over here we have a couple of these guys, some sticky flares with a short range thruster, really getting these things up and out the way, you know, pretty damn quick. So these are on ejectors as well. No, 1 ejector each. So that is that. Down here to create this little slopey bit, so this is the start of the little hull tips. To create this sort of like slope, what I have done is we have attached a piston over here, piston and a little spin block, and that's that. Pretty much that is it. That is all you needed, and it elevated enough for me, so I didn't have to remove, you know, this wood up here. It elevated enough such that, you know, it was, you know, in the right position for me to create the slope where I needed it. So that is that. That is totally walkable. You can absolutely and utterly walk, you know, on it with no problems there whatsoever. So that's that. It's pretty damn neat. I like that a lot. Oh dear. What else? What else? Over here we do have... Actually, no, we have some more stuff over here. Over here we do have these guys. Now, these guys I was thinking of either using them just for anti-air only, or if we are at a certain depth pursuing a target or a fast target. So these would be launched from, you know, pretty much from under the sea. But the only problem is, due to the space constraints that we do have in here, I can't attach a lot of these guys, a lot of these ejectors. So, you know, they all have one each. So we can't go that deep with them. To have them, you know, just shoot up, breach the water, and then turn and track the target. That was the intention. So that is what I'm saying. Like, you know, we can't go really deep to use these versus surface targets or air targets. They work, but they'll work better if it won't be too deep. So those are those. Over here we have another set of stuff and things. We have a couple of mines, a couple of frag mines. I chose frags due to the well, you will see soon the whole melee situation. We're going to be getting up pretty damn close to other ships, and if we had these guys on an explosive, we would be damaging ourselves. So that is that. Currently we still do damage ourselves with a couple of the frags, but you know, what can you do? Still have to sort out the armoring and the shielding. So down here, this is what I got set up to trigger these guys. We're not using any AI stuff for this. We're just using two ACBs. And what we are saying is, you know, at the range, if our current target's range is about 60 meters, pretty much, yeah, that is that. We've got nothing else selected, so that is going to be part of the if statement, as this is right next to it. Okay, and then in this one you tell it what you want to do. So with this we are also saying if the altitude of the target, because I was also having some troubles, you know, like if we were on the surface and a flyer passed by us within the 60 meter range, you know, then the mines, they would have launched and pretty much damage us. So this is another check on that, just to keep things a little bit safer. Definitely probably need to tweak some other things and add some other bits and pieces to this, but you know, this is how I currently got it set up. So this one is checking the altitude to make sure that it's between -15 and 10 altitude. So we're trying to aim for surface ships or ships that are sinking a bit. So those are those. That is repeated around the back here. Over here we again have the same missiles that we do on the front, and another set of interceptors. Those propellers, please don't take any notice of this heresy. These have to disappear, these have to go inside, but you know, I was just slapping a couple of bits and pieces on just to improve our turn rates. So down here these guys are all hello. That isn't right. That is definitely not right. What is this? This shouldn't be that. No. It should be this one. There we go. So these are for anti-torpedo defense. That is what we're using. This is a sort of, you know, lifespan and speed. So we, again, you know, totally increases to max, just the amount of fuel that I've thrown on these guys. So yeah, those are those. That is repeated all across here and onto the other side as well. What I would like to do is only have them launch if the torpedo is coming from that side. So that is something that I have to work out. But if you guys know how to do that already, please let me know in the box down there. Because currently, you know, they're all launching from both sides, and they can U-turn and pretty much hit us as well. So there is that. Also, on the note of these guys, if you do have a hatch, you cannot change the direction if you're using ejectors. So if you're using ejectors, they're just gonna, you know, fly straight out. You're not going to be able to adjust, you know, their direction. As down here we also have another set of thingy-doodles, anti-torpedoes. We also have this guy, passive sonar, just to detect those nasty torpedoes heading towards us as well. So we do have a couple of detection bits and pieces there. Over here, now you're probably saying, why the hell is he using iron jets? Well, to be honest, if you look at if you have watched the anime of Ars Nova, they used also this blue sort of like submarine thing, which is based on the I-400. This is the I-401 in the anime. So this is pretty much based on that. The only thing is this thing isn't going to be opening up and flying anytime soon. Perhaps another time. We'll definitely make something open up and do things and weird stuff. That is for sure. Definitely want to try and do something like that. But for now, you know, I'm just trying to keep things a bit simple. So these guys, yeah, these are just pretty much there for show. These two actually work. These guys are mimics here on the front, and the only reason why I set it up like that is because at the back here we do have, you know, two normal props, and as you can see, you know, we can't attach anything here, and we can't put anything here really anyway. So that is why I got those two there. These two, this one and this one, are mimics, and then we have another mimic here in the dark blue of a 4-meter block, just to make things look a little bit neater, or trying to. Same again over here, we have, you know, these slopes. These are all mimic slopes as well. A couple of rubbers just in case. So we are actually controlling this all pretty much by breadboard and a couple of PIDs. We are controlling our altitude with the spin blocks with these guys. We're not controlling our pitch, you know, we're not diving via pitch. We are diving using altitude, using over here. Let's just bring this up. So what we have over here, we have told this spinner to be a pusher. So that's maxed out there. And over here, we're going to be giving it the max angle. So if we were to turn this up fully, as you can see, it's going to do a whole 180, and you can see it doing the whole 180 in the background there. So we don't want that. For me, I've found that, you know, 45 is pretty good. It might change depending on your construct, so, you know, but for this I found 45, you know, pretty damn good for us. So that's that is how we are controlling our altitude. We have the same happening on the back and you know, obviously on these sides, but just a little bit different. One is going to be, you know, negative, one is going to be positive. So that is that. To be honest, I don't know why it's pointing up, because our max altitude right now should be about -4. So I don't know why it's pointing up right now. Down here we do have a couple of hydros. I don't know what I'm using these guys for, to be honest. So yeah, we're using these guys also for the whole hovering part of things. So this is our push up, push down. We're not using them for pitch. So that's going to be, you know, for setting our altitude up, as well as these air pumps. This air pump here is set to look after our altitude as well. And then these air pumps, I should have done this whilst I was going over those guys. These air pumps are also set to look after our altitude all the way across to the very back. So that is pretty much how you can control a submarine without, or a submarine, even a boat, or you know, a shippy, a boaty thing, without the need of using props, you know, upside down props. So that is that bit out of the way. Okay, so when it comes to shaping your hull, what the hell does one do? Well, one is going to go online and you're going to go and grab a hell of a lot of reference images. Now, when I started this build, I wasn't using this as a reference image. I was actually using the I-400 itself, the Japanese, you know, submarine carrier image. This is taken off the anime of Ars Nova. And as I was basing the submarine off that, I was like, you know, why the hell am I not using the proper image? And then I started using that. So things are going to be a tad different. As you can see, you know, this thing bulges out quite a bit, whereas mine is pretty damn, you know, flat, kind of. So yeah, there's going to be a couple of differences there. So yeah, I'm going to say, well, how high do I want it? And I'm looking at this and I can see that we have 4 torpedo tubes here. So I know that at least where the torpedo tubes are, it's 4 meters in height. So like down here. We are 4 meters in height, and then we have this corner here. So we have this what was it, 2? Yeah, we have a 2 meter downslope there, which is something resembled here. Just, you know, I was taking this as a 2 meter, probably a bit off scale. This actually does appear to be more than 2 meters, but well, you know, what can you do? So I was just trying to make a whole rough idea as to the height, and I just laid, you know, a couple of beams going down to try to box off, you know, the height that I want. And pretty much started sectioning things off. So you then, you know, look at the top section, and you'll see the sort of angle that we have going on over here. As you can see, it's very bullet shaped, it's very curved. We don't have these sort of blocks in game because we have these 4 meter ones, and these 4 meter ones are already too steep to get, you know, the angle from here all the way to something like over here. So this is already too steep to do that. So when things are, you know, when your building block is going to be too steep, this is the 4 meter would be still too steep for what you want to use. You would, you know, try to fill in, try to make that that angle coming out gradual by filling it in with a couple of, you know, either 4 meter beams, even 2, even 1 meter could be enough before you put in another slope. So I mean, then at the back is, you could probably use in over here a couple of 3s and a couple of 2s mixed together to get a more curved and sharper sort of, like, you know, turn inwards. So you do that, you get that outline, you try to block in a very rough outline of that vehicle that you're trying to build in game. And then when you get your top outline sorted out, you're going to be copying that, you're going to be coming down with it, and you know that it's going to start to go in gradually and V inwards at some point. But with this one, it's more of a rounded. On most builds, you're going to have your slope here, and you're going to go one in, perhaps if it's that sudden, or 2 down, 1 in, another 2 down, depends. So with this, I wanted more of a curve, more of an oval, like let's have a look. The image is pretty much hidden up, but if you look at a submarine, it's got an oval shape here, around here, and at the back as well, and it starts turning in. So that was what I was trying to get with this, getting these slopes, you know, set backwards and then coming a bit forwards with them, bit forwards, to make this a little bit oval like, to then be able to try to get this outside here to go a bit oval as well. The other tip that I can give is, do not build a full V. You don't want to build a ship which is a full V, especially if this is, like, you know, if you're still new to the game, because you're going to have issues with it toppling over, rolling and tipping and listing and all that horrible stuff. So you want to try to have a flat base to it. It does help keep stability. I mean, even with building this thing up the top here, I mean, you need I need reference images. I can't just start to pop things down and, you know, try to make it look like something that I'm trying to remember. You know, you have to bring in those reference images into the game, and you have to use them if you want to make something realistic, or if you just want a good looking hull, try to go for something that is already out there and try to replicate it. So that's, you know, pretty much the tips that I can give, and that is pretty much how I build. Over here, you're going to probably notice these guys. These guys are actually working. They're not blocked off at all. Well, I can't select them for now, but how I did this is pretty simple. As you can see, we have a spin block down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over on this side over here, and we're going to grab one of these. Actually, no, we can't do that just yet. We need to put down one of these and one of those. So let's bring you like that. So what I did, in order to make those guys stick out from those slopes like that, is I grabbed a couple of light blocks, okay, and set the angle that I wanted this thing, you know, pointing at. I'll bring it somewhere. Let's just say -45 straight away. There you go. So we have something like that. Obviously this thing is much longer out here, and the thing in there is pretty damn short. And come down to our AI, grab, let's just change the color so nothing, you know, doesn't look the same. I shift click. You can you shift click and you replace the block. Now the thing with these light blocks is that when you rotate, and if you have something already built here, like this metal wall here, right, is already built, if these light blocks were a metal beam, you wouldn't be able to you know, turn this thing so far out. It will start colliding, clashing, and you won't be able to get the angle. It will stop. So that is what the light blocks are for. The light blocks will traverse through that metal and allow you to get this angle. Once you get the angle, however, you can then come along and you can shift click again. So I'm holding shift and just mouse clicking, and, you know, just replacing these guys with, you know, the stuff that you need, like that. You can then add this to your prefab, which our prefab window has been updated and upgraded and all of that good stuff. We now have unlimited slots, which is very nice. This has also changed over here, prefab mode. Capture the prefabs with the oh Jesus Christ, I've gone all over the place. To capture the prefabs, you can capture them like that now, which is pretty damn awesome as well. Liking the little updates of these, you know, these little bits and pieces. So once you save that, you can, you know, load it up, and once you put it in place, it's going to take the angle straight away. It doesn't have to rotate into position, because it's once you click the prefab and place it down, it's gonna come placed at that angle, so you don't have to mess around with it, which is pretty damn good. And then, you know, if you pull your construct out to play and put it back into play, it's already going to be, it will come in again at that angle. It doesn't have to rotate to get to that angle. So, you know, that's one little other little thing that you can do. The same went for these guys over here as well. I had to make them out of the light blocks, because, you know, we were getting a bit of a clashing stuff going on, and this was like an L shape pretty much, so it went straight down and out to get this one as I wanted it. Okay, so this is a very temporary layout that I've got in here. This cannot stay here. This has to move, because this is the most stupidest and god-awful place ever to to have your mainframe, but it was easy accessible, you know, when you're building stuff. So over here, now this is going to be an absolute and utter mess, so I do apologize. We have yet to do that. So I'm going to try to go over this very briefly, or try to. So over here, let's start with this. Over here, if there are no enemies, I want to be floating at -4. Okay. So that's pretty much what we got in here. In variable A, we're saying if A is 0, so A is currently linked to is there a target. So if A is 0, then pass the information that this PID is giving to the propulsion that goes up. This PID, I've set it up pretty stupidly strict, gain on full, and just kept these guys low. That's how I usually start off with PIDs. That is how I usually just slap it down full on one, and I'll come back and tweak it. You know, if things are like really shaking, you know, really fast, then I will come and I usually pull this down to about 10, 0.1 sort of thing. So that is, you know, our current sort of how we keep in our current altitude when there are no enemies. Now also down here, oh crap. So down here, what we are saying is, So if A is being tied into the target altitude, if it's minus 10 and A is also, you know, less than positive 10, and C is, you know, true, C is if there is a target, then output a 1. I do have B attached into here, but I'm not using it, so that's going to output at 1. And pretty much what we are doing then is we are setting, you know, what sort of movement and behaviors we're going to be using, either during combat, not during combat. So if A is 1, it's going to output, you know, a 1 from here, or a 0. I mean, you probably don't need to use this. You could probably have these guys attached to here straight away, but I like to, you know, add bits and pieces. And what we're saying is, so if A is 1, then it's going to output a 1 here on these two lines. So currently there are no targets, so it's outputting a 0, and down here we have another if statement checking to see if it's a 1 or a 0. So if this is a 1, these guys are all automatically turn on, because these need a 1 to turn on. And if it's less than 1, or, you know, you could put if it's equal to 0, then turn these guys on 1. So that is how we are setting up our movement. This thing don't take any notice of it because we're not using. Okay, so for this part here, this is where I am telling our submarine that I want you to always be at 50 meters above the seabed. Okay, so whatever the seabed is, whatever altitude the seabed is, I want to always be 50 meters above it. So like that, we are not constantly at minus 45 just under the sea waves kind of thing. So we're moving up and down with the seabed kind of thing. And in order to do that, I'm also putting a check onto the enemy to see, you know, what the enemy is. So if the enemy is between minus 10 altitude and 10, because A currently is attached to our altitude, right? Yep. A is attached to our altitude, B is the target distance, and C if there is an enemy or not. So what we're doing here is we're saying if it's between minus 10 and 10 altitude, and if it's 250 or more meters away, and while C, if there is, you know, an enemy, then make us dive down to the constant here, which I chose is 50. This is the set at the altitude above terrain, which ignores water. So this is how I am staying at 50 meters above the seabed. So if this is all true, it's going to send a 1 down to here. The 1 is going to come into here. A is on A, and this is checking, you know, if A is 1, if it is, then output B, which is the PIDS controller and all the information that the hover up down propulsion needs to know, you know, where, if it needs to go up or down, pretty much. So what we have with that is we've got all of our, we have the I don't know why I came out of that. We have our air pumps, you know, we have our air pumps set to hover. We have our spinners, they are set to, you know, to the hover, to the push, to the up down. So that will be controlling those. And as you can see, I don't have anything saying like, you know, make it into a negative or turn a negative into a positive thing. It works. It's not going to give you issues at all. I'm not having issues, so, you know, I'm telling it works. Anyway, what else? So there's a couple of bits and bobs here that I don't want you paying any attention to, which is this one, and this one. Forget they exist. They don't exist. They're not there. Okay. What we're using is we are doing over here. We are going to be checking target's altitude to see if it's a boat. Again, the way I check to see if it's a boat is if it's between minus 10 and 10 altitude. B is coming from here. This is calculating our B. What is being outputted from here? It's always going to be a value where it's either going to increase if we're far away, or decrease if we're getting close or closer to it. And this, I'm using this to say if the target is above us So the way I'm doing that is we are checking A. So A is the target distance, B would be the target's altitude, and C is our current altitude. So we are checking to see, you know, if the target is above us. And pretty much what this is doing is it's outputting a number. It's outputting, you know, that sort of distance of it being above us, kind of thing. Just imagine it like that, the distance above us. So if B is less than 90, we're saying, well, it's pretty damn close and it's going to be pretty damn above us. Output a 1 or a 0. And there you go. It outputs the 1 or the 0, comes into here. This here is just checking, you know, if A is 1, then output B. And B is coming from our PID. Our PID is taking our current altitude, and we are deducting, you know, a minus 45 from the target's altitude. So A is coming from target altitude. So we want to always try to maneuver and stay under the target's altitude now at minus, you know, 45 underneath our target. And that, you know, is outputting where we want to be to the PID, and the PID, you know, is then sending that information through here to be into our up propulsion. Like I said, this, forget it, it doesn't exist. So that connection there, it's doesn't belong. So that is how we are going to be keeping ourselves at 45 meters underneath the target. What I haven't done yet is setting up what we're going to be doing versus air targets, and what levels should we be at to use our missiles. So with that headache out the way, no, I don't want to do that. Sit. Okay, so with that out the way, we should be looking at this, shouldn't we? So this is our Melee PAC. This is probably the most important thing that you guys actually wanted to see. What we are doing here is we are telling our Melee PAC that we want it to project 60 meters up. Okay. We are also telling it to connect to arm 2, and arm 2 is the arm over here. And arm 2 is then saying connect to arm 1. So we are saying we want, you know, a beam of 60 meters high, or what, you know, range of. Over here, what we are doing is we are saying if R, which is the distance from the closest enemy, so if R is less than or equal to 70, so if it's like 70 meters away from us, then output a 1. And when this is outputting a 1, it's automatically activating the Melee PACs. Okay, this one would also need to be in range of 70 meters. So just putting 70 meters on this one over here, it's not going to activate this beam. These are 2 beams, so you're going to have to, you know, put in that over there as well. So what we are doing over here, we are doing T modulus 5 times 10. So we are messing about with this time over here. The reason why I've done it with 5 times 10, firstly because I believe that the maximum angle that of the Melee PAC that it can, you know, go left, right, or that way, the maximum angle that it can project to, I believe it's 50. The reason why I say that is because when I was hitting 60 here, so let's say we done 2 times 30. So we get, you know, we go up to 60. It would stop at 50. Pretty much once we hit 50, it would stop, and then it would wait that second or two and reset. So like that, you know, I was saying, okay, well, 60 is too much, so I put it down as, you know, to take it up to 50 degrees. The reason why I've done it also with the 10 like this is for the speed, so it goes up quicker, so we hit that 50 mark much quicker. Let's have a look. So if we did 2 times 10, which is over here, as you can see, 2 times 10, that's going up to 20. Okay, So that's that. That was pretty much why I done it like that. So we have a nice, you know, wide angle at a decent speed. I think I might need to do it a little bit slower just to make sure it actually destroys the block that it hits. It could be a little bit too fast right now. And then we are just plugging in this information into B, and we're telling, you know, our lateral shift to use B, our lateral 2 shift to use -B, so we get that curve like that. R2 is well, A is pretty much B in this case. I had a different value there previously. This is pretty much pushing our beam. It's starting it from over here ish and pushing it up. Say if we had our beam with A here, as you can see, it's starting within, you know, our construct and then all the way up. So that is that. Now if we remove R2, just so you get an idea of what's going on, it stayed there. So you get a good idea of what's going on. Over here on the other Melee PAC, there's going to be a couple of differences between the positives and the negatives. Apart from that, everything else is the same. What else? V, yeah, V is our vertical shift, so V is sorting out our vertical distance. It's using this as a distance as well. So yeah. Over here on this pack, as you can see, you know, there's a couple of differences between the positives and the negatives. Apart from that, everything else is the same. Okay, so it's probably about time we actually get this SIG, you know, tested out. Hopefully I haven't messed up anything over here. Let me just double check our front pack here. Yeah, I forgot to set this back to 60 after I messed around with the R1. Okay, so we have that sorted out. We are going to be spawning in a bulwark. Hopefully Mr. Bulwark will give me enough time to turn bits and pieces off. Yeah. Yeah, of course it would. Thank you. Right up our backside. We'd have to spawn there, wouldn't it? Okay, so as you can see, we are slowly going down, and we should be hanging around sort of like 50 above the seabed. What that means is it's measuring from the center of mass, or from the center of the construct downwards. Unfortunately, it doesn't measure from the nose or this end totally and down, which is a bit of a pain on the backside. So we might have to set up an ACB with the setting of if there's an object. So if there's an object, you know, a couple of 100 meters that way, or if there's an object down here, then you know, make all of the up propulsions, you know, on a positive, so it pushes us up basically. Okay, so as we are getting close to our target, we are going to start to ascend, and then we're going to turn on. That's one. That was that one over there, and this one should come into range pretty soon. There goes the mines. Those mines are also going to be causing us a bit of a headache because, you know, we have 0 armor everywhere. That didn't sound too healthy. Stupid bulwark. Anyway, yeah, I'm saying stupid bulwark because he can't shoot at me because I turned his sodden weapons off. But as you can see, that is the sort of thing that is going to be happening to the enemy. We obviously have to set up the AI to say, you know, always go after the slowest target first. And then, you know, have our weapons try to target or prioritize faster targets, you know, to slow them down, hopefully. As you can see, there's our mines doing all sorts of horrible damage. Hopefully to it and not to us. Don't know what that mine is doing. He's just floating there like an absolute nut. He's like, should I blow up now? I like this hull. I'm going to hug it some more. But there you go. That is the sort of idea of the horrible nastiness that this Melee PAC is going to do. Definitely have to slow, probably slow its, you know, its movement down. So it does, you know, it does the actual damage to the block. I'm not saying it's not doing the damage, but you know, to leave it there a little bit longer to make sure that it takes out that block that it passed through. There you go. That is the bulwark deaded. Nice. So yes, it needs a lot of tweaks. Hopefully you guys, you know, can leave me your comments and suggestions in the box in the down there. I'm just going to do one of these. Actually, no, one of those and one of these because I don't want it crashing into that. Yeah. So hopefully you guys, you know, can leave me your comments and suggestions in the link below as to, you know, how we can improve this, what sort of armor we can use. This is probably overkill in terms of anti-torpedo defense, but I do know there's a couple of constructs out there, especially, you know, in the other factions that do have quite the alpha strike when it comes to the medium torpedoes. So they'll probably be used, you know, and we definitely have a higher fire rate after, you know, the Vol came out. So being able to keep up with any other torpedoes coming in is also, you know, a bonus with that. May change these to for buoys, I'm not too sure. But yes, your comments, thoughts and suggestions as to how to improve the shell on this thing. Let us have a quick look. What are we doing with this thing? We are doing we're giving it 5,000 energy per shot, so that's, you know, 1.3 every 1.30 seconds it's going to fire something. And by something it's going to be this. This is what we are using for that. This should be something like a 200 gauge, like I said. So that's the shell that we're using. That shell, like I said, hopefully I can get it to only use a turret when we are above the sea, above the waves. And, you know, we'll only go above the waves if it's an air target, or if the target in question is too fast for us to catch up with our melee. And therefore we'll still be using torpedoes, we'll be using our missiles, and we will be using that gun as well. That is the idea there. Unfortunately, I have not made the submarine open up like it does in the army, but perhaps, you know, at some point, you know, I'll definitely try to do something like that for sure. So yes, so if you have liked what you've seen, please remember to smash that like and subscribe button, like they owe you money. And once again, thank you very much for all of your support, your comments and suggestions that you have been leaving so far. I really appreciate it. It really makes my day when I see, you know, you guys you know, asking questions, or just, you know, just having a chat with me on YouTube there. So yeah, so for now, my awesome YouTubians, I'm going to leave it here. Please let me know what you think we should be doing for the armor side of things. I'm probably going to go metal, heavy armor metal. I'm not too sure, but, you know, I'm going to what the yeah, we do have a bit of problems sometimes though. Sometimes it does tend to do something like this when it's coming out of the water. So it's, you know, its nose is up and out of the water, and it's turning at the same time. That does happen. But if it's turning, you know, once it's fully flattened out, then, you know, that doesn't happen. Anyway, whatever. So hopefully you've enjoyed what you've seen. Yeah, hopefully you're going to be looking forward to seeing this in the campaign. I know I am for sure going to be tweaking things up, moving things around, getting the ammo sorted out. Making sure that it doesn't go to space as well. But for now, as YouTubians, I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to say take care, and I will catch you all on the next one.